Hello friends, welcome to the world of prosperity. Today's video will be talking about on similar lines as I shared three best investing actions. So I'll be sharing my three worst investing decisions, or I would rather say my three best learnings from my early days investing. I'm sure this video will be insightful and useful for you. Please do watch and share your views in the comment box. So let's proceed with this video. Let me share my mind map for the regular flow. So as far as the investing goes, everybody does some mistakes. They do learn from these mistakes. So in my history also, I have some worst investing mistakes, and these mistakes actually gave me a lifetime lessons. So I'll be sharing both the mistakes and the learning out of that mistake, and which has really helped me in my future investing journey. I am sure this will be useful for you. So first and the foremost is my first investing mistake is investing in real estate. I remember a decade or maybe 1.5 decade earlier, there was a season, or there was, a boom for real estate. And real estate was, uh, you know, our daily discussion in our group. In fact, that was the time we used to carry a checkbook in our pocket. And because we really don't know when we need to, issue a check for that booking, and because every day the rates were rising, so those were the time, I end up investing into couple of properties in Delhi NCR. And believe me, all those properties, they are of all variety, whether it is residential, whether it is commercial, whether it is plot, whether it is multi-story, whether it is kind of, commercial where you will get some fixed return. I invested into at least five, six properties, but it turned out to be very soon, maybe within say 7, 8 years, it turned out to be some of the worst mistake I did in my early years, right? And the mistake was that real estate, the way, there was a boom. Similarly, it went into recession very fast, right? And one of the major reason was that sector itself was not clean, right? So unlike other investments opportunity, where there are clarity, there are, uh, there are, you can say, some legal regulation, or some regulators are there. This sector actually was beyond any control. Another important thing is, at this point of time, my total asset allocation to real estate was almost 90% plus, which is in any manner was not correct, right? So this is, investing in real estate was one of the earliest mistakes I did. And after that, once I was out of these, investments, maybe it took me almost 10 years to come out of these investments, having a huge opportunity loss and some actual loss. Uh, some of the learnings which I did, and from that point onwards, I never entered into real estate, for the simple reason is that the sector itself is not very clean, and it's a different world altogether, right? So the learnings out of these investments is I gain clarity on liquidity and asset allocation. So believe me, from that point onwards, I was very particular about asset allocation, because at some point of time I had 90% investment in real estate, and there was no liquidity. And uh, other than that, since we booked all these property with, this 10% or bare minimum, installment, after some time the next installments demand started coming. And we know, slowly gradually, that these properties will never deliver on time, right? Or not only on time, they will never deliver, right? Those are the kind of situations. So what happened is, we started working on that, how to actually get refund for this. So even if we get refund for most of the properties after say 7, 8, or 10 years, but there was huge opportunity loss, in those 10 years, right? But uh, investing in real estate has given me clarity on liquidity and asset allocation. Believe me, from that point onwards, I was primarily into stock market and mutual fund, because the best part about this is that today if I need money, right, and the liquidity is so good that you just press a button, right, and your money will be there either next day or maybe next 2 3 days it will be in your account, right? So that's the level of liquidity in all my investments now, right? Another important thing is the asset allocation. So my asset allocation is now, it is very clear, whether it is between say debt and equity, or whether within the various investment class, there's no single investment which has a good majority of the investment. It is well diversified. Of course, I continue to review it so that the risk gets diversified, right? So this is number one. I think this is one of the worst and one of the major mistake which I did in early years. And after that, I never gained, courage to actually enter into real estate sector, for the simple reason that asset allocation and liquidity cannot be handled in real estate, right? Number two is investing in teak plants. In my early days, I remember one investment opportunity came, that you invest into teak plants. It was the offer was very very tempting, because you pay for say few plants, those will be seeded at that point of time, and then maybe after 20 or 25 years, the teak plant will grow to its full length, and you will get a huge sum in return. And in these 20 25 years, you will get some annual return also, and maybe your original investment will get recovered by these annual installments by default, right? So those were very very tempting investments. I did try it with a small sum, maybe just maybe single set kind of, right, whatever is the minimum investment required. So I did try it just for the sake of learning and understanding, that let me also plant a tree which will give me fruits after say 20 25 years. With that understanding, I did invest. Unfortunately, these kind of investments were again fraudulent investments, and there was no regulator, there was no controller, and all these investments, they did paid maybe one or two installment maybe in first year or second year, right? So I did recover my say 20 30% kind of money which I invested, and after that it just all vanished, right? Forget about the teak plant, I didn't even get the yearly installments, right? And nobody knows where they have gone, where the plant gone, where the money gone, right? So it was very very difficult to handle these kind of investments. And from that point onwards, these kind of investments, I call them fancy investments, right? So once these fancy investment have I have experienced, it gain what is the benefit to me after this, what is the learning? I gain clarity on control over investment and fancy investments without any regulations, right? So what happens, I could understand, which investments I have full or better control, right? So nowadays, wherever I'm investing, I prefer those investments where I have better control over the investment. And second thing is, any fancy investment which don't have any regulation, and which there is nobody to take care, I generally don't invest. Maybe sometimes you get tempted, but if even if I go for such investments, I just invest for the purpose of just learning a small amount, just for learning. That's all. So no major investment. So the idea is that these kind of bad investments, there was a serious learning, and these learnings actually has impacted over a longer period of time. Even today, whenever somebody comes with a fancy investments, my answer is very very clean and straight, no confusion, right? In fact, the only recent investments which tempted me is the the crypto, right? So many people, they say, why you're not investing in crypto? So I took some time just to understand how it is working, what exactly is there. The returns were really very tempting, but ultimately, since I realized there was no regulation, there's nothing, there's some gap. So I did finally decided that I'll maybe invest just for learning purpose, just a small amount. And that also, before I started investing in that, the crypto actually crashed drastically. So I just remain on the sideline, right? But any kind of fancy investment, believe me, you should raise a red flag, and before you actually give money to such investments, right? I am not saying investment is good, bad, or but you must understand the risk component in that, right? And what is your own control? What are the regulations? Who all can support you in such investments, right? So for me, I want to keep investments very, very simple, straight. Uh, Liquidity is one of the primary, concern, because nowadays liquidity is very, very important. Whatever investments you are making, right? So this is number two. And last but not the least, of course, there could be anything else also, but today I am narrowing down to only three worst investing mistakes, but I call it best learnings of my earlier investing life. So last but not the least is investing via insurance. So in my earlier years, as I mentioned, I used to seed regularly. So every month, every year, I used to spare some money for investment purpose, and I keep investing into new investment options, because I have started from zero, right? So I did bought NSC, I did bought did invested into PPF, I did invested into some similar kind of instruments. So uh, after some time, I started looking out for some insurance, and as usual, I got some insurance agent. And since I have to invest, and that time, like everybody else, the tax saving was the major criteria. So I did invested into few insurance policies in my earlier years, and primarily taking care of the ATC deduction for insurance. And but very soon, like within couple of years, I realized that they are not serving its true purpose. Tax saving is fine, but since the commitment is for a very, very long period, so I get cautious. And what ultimately I did is that out of couple of policies, I close most of the policies, only except my first policy. First policy I kept primarily, one is for the learning purpose, another is that policy has already did few years, and the encashing was resulting into big loss, because the commission and the cost gets recovered in first few years in case of investing insurance, basically, right? So what I did is, all the recent policies I just close cautiously. I just took a call that I need to close. So even if I did incur some loss, but it was still better than committing for say 20, 25 years, paying continuously. So what I did is I just closed those policies, kept only one, which you won't believe, it is maturing after 25 years in this year, right towards the end, right? So this was another major mistake which I think recovered within next early years, within next few years of investing. And what is the learning from this investment is, understood the real rate of return and the importance of purpose in investing, right? So the idea is, like, if you're buying insurance, so buy insurance, and if you are investing, look out for insurance, don't mix these two. So that is the main learning I did. And after that, I never combined basically insurance and investment together. So my insurance is separate and my investing is all separate. I've never mixed those. So those are the learning for me. I followed this way. Maybe you can tweak these insights, and it's up to you how you want to carry on your investing journey. Believe me, for me these worked very well, and these were, like, my learning in early years. These are my mistakes in earlier, and those mistakes resulted into good learnings in my early years. So I'm sure this will be insightful for you, and that is the reason I'm sharing it with you, because many times you gain clarity with some real life examples, right? And these are the real examples with me. I hope you like the video. And again, the usual stuff that, if you like the video, please do share it with your near and dear, so that they can also gain clarity on insurance investment and what are the mistakes they should avoid. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do subscribe and press the bell icon so that you don't miss out on my latest video. You can always follow me on my hashtag, which is hashtag CA Sunil Gupta 95. I'm available on most of the social media channel. And if you have any other idea or any other investing learning out of your mistakes, please do share in the comment box. I'll be happy to read and interact on those lines, and it will be beneficial to other readers and subscribers. So thank you very much. Till my next video, take care and goodbye. Thank you.